you guys are celebrating 50 years of Curved Air this year. How do you think that the sound of Curved Air has sort of evolved from 1970?
Well, we've got to interpret it, haven't we? You listen to the original versions, you learn it, but then you've got to put your own spin on it. Otherwise, you would just be copying everything note for note. So, as Robert was saying about Andy, he's listened to the tracks, but he's putting his own drumming to the tracks, which puts them in a different direction to what they were doing originally. But it's sort of different and it's sort of like dynamic and exciting. So when you listen to a recording, it's one version of the song that you get for your on your CD or your record. When we play it live, it's always slightly different. There's always different things going on. So you've got to be aware that the version of something you've recorded or you've learnt is just one version. So I think it's more dynamic now, and there's a lot more influences because there's been a lot of music between the early 70s and now that's appeared and sort of helped influence what we
I
do.
do think it's nice that we seem to be playing very much as a band in the kind of way that bands back then did, to some extent. So I think there is, in that sense, it's almost feels like it's come full circle, even though I wasn't there obviously at the time. But it is a real band, and we do really play together. And I think so. I think we're honouring the spirit of the progressive rock.
Yeah, because whatever we record, we're able to play as well.
Yeah. But there's a lot of kind of listening and interacting and kind of, a lot of swing. There's a lot of feel in the music, which I think is what it's all about, really.
I think it's interesting that when we played in Japan earlier in the year, and we played some of those songs from Aircut, the first time we'd ever played them, because even at the time we didn't play all of the material from Aircut, and it was a sort of powerful mixture of it being kind of authentic to what the records were, and yet it felt very modern. I think there's I think the band has matured in a good way.
Yeah, and we've recorded one new album that was created by the band. Then it was Chris and Robert. It was just that the different violin player and different drummer, and that material has gone down so well with the audiences. They really love that album, and it's got good, great reviews on Amazon, and we've also recorded and released a couple of live albums, the 45th anniversary, and then there was one in the middle with Kit's lovely playing on, and the band as it was then. So listening to the band live, it's it varies according to the musicians who are interpreting the music, and there are different songs, and it's great. It never, as Robert says, it never gets boring for us or the audiences, because it's alive, and that's what musicians like these can do. They can breathe life into a piece of music. No matter how long it's been around, it sounds like it's just been born.
And the making of North Star was like a baptism of fire. I mean, it was such a kind of multi-layered process of everything that it nearly didn't happen. But the fact that it did happen through all that pain, was just so powerful. And so we really lived the making of that album in the deepest possible way. And I think that's got something to do with why it does work. Those tracks really, we really sweated blood and tears for those tracks.